My name is Laine Martinez, and I am the Graciela Wilborn Foreign Language Teacher of the Year of North Dakota, and I am a proud member of the Bismarck Education Association and North Dakota United. I have told my mom I wanted to be a teacher since I started talking. I played school when I was little. I got to school, and in elementary school I wanted to be an elementary teacher. In middle school I wanted to be middle school, and in high school I wanted to be a high school teacher. I have one teacher at each level who inspired me to love teaching even more. And then I was at Minnesota State University in Moorhead, and my history teacher said, there are a lot of people that want to be history teachers, so I think you should major in something else. And so I chose Spanish after my Spanish teacher said, you know, you're not doing very well in Spanish. I think studying abroad would be an excellent opportunity for you. And so I studied abroad in Cuernavaca, Mexico for a semester. There was like an exchange program with the Minnesota State University in Moorhead in Cuernavaca, Mexico. I was there for 5 months, and I came back and I decided to forget the history and major in Spanish education. I had a position at Century High School, and that's where I graduated from. So I was very excited to have that position at Century High School with some of the teachers that I had, especially the world language group of teachers. I remember having them as teachers. And then the amount of students who were taking a world language declined, and my position would have been gone. However, there was a teacher that left Bismarck High School that same year. And so I was able to transition over to Bismarck High School. Starting with the position that I received at Century, I feel like it was a perfect fit moving back here to Bismarck, North Dakota, and then receiving that position, because I have always enjoyed school. I've enjoyed learning, and so to be with teachers who knew that I was I had been a great student and enjoyed having me as a student. I already had that connection with colleagues, and then for them to see the passion that I have for education and for the teaching and learning, they were able to see that in one of their own students. And I was proud to be back at Century High School. Because Spanish is a language, it's about communication. And so what I enjoy as part of the class is getting to know students, but in another language. So we talk a lot, like my day really consists of learning about the students and then trying to help them understand the world that they're living in and how they're a small part of that world. When I studied abroad, one of the things that I noticed with the Hispanic culture is how inviting and how warm people were. It's one thing that I try to have in my classroom as well, that feeling of everybody's invited, I'm happy you're here. One of the things students say about me most is how positive I always am, no matter what. And I'm humbled to know that that's what I'm trying to portray as a teacher. That's what I want them to feel, that they're invited and that I have this positive vibe going out to them, because I want them to know that I'm happy they're here. So I guess in my experience, when I meet somebody that speaks Spanish and not a whole lot of English, that person is so grateful that you have given just a little bit of effort to try to connect and to try to help in that language, in their native language. When I'm trying to explain to students the reason behind taking another language, and I tell them in 2 years, you're not going to be proficient. Unfortunately, 2 years is going to give you some survival skills in order to be able to make that connection with someone that speaks Spanish in this case, that speaks another language, to make them feel comforted, to make them smile, to make them feel that you care. The first Foreign Language Association of North Dakota event I attended was after being hired at Century High School. And it was just an off-the-cuff, hey, there's a conference coming up this weekend. Do you have time to go? And I thought, well, yes, I do. So I went, and at that meeting, I ended up being nominated for one of the positions on the board, and became more and more involved after that with the organization. So we have 2 conferences a year, and after each of those conferences that I've attended, I've been more excited to come back and teach with the new ideas that I've learned. Being able to collaborate with people who share the same passion as you is something special. And I hope everybody has the chance to experience that through conferences or events or collaborating with colleagues or organizations. It's actually kind of a funny story. I received a text message from one of the board members, and she said, "Are you planning on coming to the conference?" It was in Bismarck. And I said, "No, I can't make it because of work schedule. My husband has shift work, and so I wasn't going to be able to, and all my support, family support in town was gone, so I wasn't going to be able to make it to any of the conference." And she said, "Well, do you think you could just make dinner?" And I thought, yeah, I could make that happen just with his schedule. So I said, yeah, I'll come for dinner. And then I thought to myself, they must really like me. Like, they want to hang out with me. That's sweet. So, because they're from all over North Dakota, obviously. And then I showed up at the event, and I kind of saw some whispering going on for a couple of minutes, and I thought, okay, what's going on here? And then, to my surprise, I received the award. My biggest why of teaching, which I've discovered through the years, as I've learned, is being able to connect with the students and show them that they matter and they're important, and that no matter the content that they're learning, no matter if it's a core subject, no matter if it's an elective, we're here to help you. We're here to help you learn. We're here to support you. We just care that you leave being good human beings and that you can be successful outside of the classroom. One of the reasons that I feel passionate about Spanish, about teaching Spanish, is because we have that flexibility as language teachers to just simply converse in another language. We have the time. We don't have such strict standards and strict requirements that we have to follow. We have that ability to just create those connections every day and modify curriculum to connect with the students on a daily basis versus with a project, at the end of the unit or something like that. And that's what I love about Spanish, is the connections that I'm able to create with students. Okay. So the cliche, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, is how I truly feel about coming to work every day. I don't ever wake up in the morning and think, I have to go to work. I truly feel excited to come to work every day, and I felt that no matter where I've worked, at Hayfield, at Century and Horizon, and then here at BHS. The kids are motivation. If I'm not feeling excited about my plans for the students for the day, when I have them first hour and I see their faces in front of me, the day begins and it's motivating, and I love seeing them learn. I love teaching them.